Hey, welcome in. We will get started with our inclusive welcome for the day. And for some reason, that slide's just not wanting to load. So we'll do it this way. Cool. Well, our inclusive welcome's pretty simple. Please just introduce yourself, your role, your school, and what's just like one way AI has transformed your teaching life over the last few weeks. We will take about 3 minutes to just connect with one another around how AI has shifted our teaching lives in the last few weeks. Alice, I need to hear the song about Ballarat. Was it like a sea shanty song? Was it like a pop tune? Like what happened?
So the kids actually had me put it to the music of that Kendrick Lamar song, Not Like Us. But we couldn't manage to actually sing because it won't put it with the music. I guess it's like copyright infringement makes sense. But we couldn't actually sing it in the same beat. So it had all of the things in there, but it really didn't work out as well as I thought. We still had a good time though.
Oh, that's so awesome. We're going to talk a little bit more about multimodal generational AI in the next 2 modules. So yeah, that's a mouthful. But that might help the process there too. Awesome. Well, welcome again. My name is Kaylee Paraccia. Please feel free to reach out to me at any point if you have any questions about the PDU or any of the learning that we're doing. We also have a bunch of digital coaches that are here to support you. And if you click the link in the slide deck, and also the slide deck is pinned to the top of the chat if you need it. But you can find your digital coach by clicking that link, and you can see all of the schools there. And then your digital coach will be in column E, and their email is in column F. If you wanted to just arrange a one-on-one chat with them or myself, please feel free to reach out. And again, here's our digital coaches. If you have worked with any of them, they're amazing. Feel free to shout them out if you have. Again, just feel free to start building the relationships with your ed tech team. We're here to support you. We are going to start with a land acknowledgement that says, recognizing DPS commitments to no justice, no peace. We, the DPS educational community, place our minds and bodies in this space while acknowledging Indigenous relatives who have lived in and cared for this ancient land from time immemorial. We acknowledge the close relationship that Arapaho, Cheyenne, Southern Ute, and Ute Mountain Ute and natives of other tribal nations continue to have with the waters, plants, and all moving things that call this land home. We pledge our respect for those enduring Indigenous connections to the place we now call Colorado. So again, to continue our land acknowledgement, wanted to point out the text that a lot of our protocols and learnings are grounded in. It's just in an Indigenous protocol for artificial intelligence. I feel like this image is a really nice summary of this manual. It just brings a community together of all of these different streams that make up how AI impacts our life. And everybody came together to think about how all these waters flow together and how we need to think of them all equally to build this ethically. Thanks, Gladys. I'm just gonna post that one more time for you in case it was just for some new joiners. I'll do that, and I will pin it. Cool. Thank you for letting me know. So just one of the readings from that text that really stuck out to me and is a nice foundation for our learning together today says, all technical systems are cultural and social systems. Every piece of technology is an expression of cultural and social frameworks for understanding and engaging with the world. AI system designers need to be aware of their own cultural frameworks, socially dominant concepts, and normative ideals. Be wary of the biases that come with them and develop strategies for accommodating other cultural and social frameworks. Computation is a cultural material. Computation is at the heart of our digital technologies, and as increasing amounts of our communication is mediated by such technologies, it has become a core tool for expressing cultural values. Therefore, it's essential for cultural resilience and continuity for Indigenous communities to develop computational methods that reflect and enact our cultural practices and values. So, they had also an image to go along with this of a purse, of like a woven purse with many different materials from their local environment. And it's called an octopus bag. And this octopus bag is a like tapestry of many different ideas and stories and artifacts of this person's culture. And they relate it to the deep neural networks of AI and how all of these different fabrics are coming together and interlapping over each other to give us the output of our AI systems. So thinking about all the biases and data sets that go into generating an output, we want to be really aware of all the fabrics and materials that we're using to bring into the real world. And that's a really heavy concept. And so I wanted to create a poll for you guys. And for some reason, just some of my slides are not wanting to load. So I'm doing a screenshot of them and loading them on a new slide anyway. Awesome. So we're going to do a quick poll. I want you to think, like thinking of computational methods being cultural expression is a really heady concept. But if you break it down into specific examples in our everyday life, it becomes a little bit easier to understand. So I want you to think, which way or which example do you think most strongly represents how AI is a tool for influencing and supporting our cultural expression? So do you see it as being the heaviest in influencing like our social media algorithms? Does where like Facebook or Instagram can like push up or down what's considered popular? Do you consider it being cultural content moderation? I think about like the FCC even in like the 90s determining like what creates a PG-13 movie versus an R movie. Like that's very cultural. And thinking about like who determines what's appropriate for who. And also you can access this poll by clicking the square, triangle, circle in the bottom right-hand corner of your Google Meet. Also, smart city technologies, just as we're starting to invest in different AI technologies, it shows really what we prioritize as a society. Do we prioritize renewable energy and access to all? Hey, Barry, good to see you. Then also 4 is personalized media recommendation. Like you have an algorithm and that recommends what you consume. Like, is that really guiding our culture a lot? And then last, AI in education, determining like what lessons are appropriate. If we're using AI tools, like that's helping us decide what learning looks like in the 21st century in America. So take a second, go into the poll. And if you can't find the poll, again, it's in the bottom right-hand side. It's like the square, triangle, circle. And you have those 5 options to choose from. We have 19 votes so far. Yeah, and like I know it's just so hard to like if you want to put like multiple, put them in the chat box. Like you're fine. I know it's just like not a binary. Go ahead, Diego.
Oh, sorry, I raised my hand on accident.
Oh no, you're good. Good to hear from you.
I picked number 4.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, if anyone wants to come over the mic and talk about their opinion while people are voting, would love to hear that. Oh no, Shannon, don't do that in November, please. Oh no. Cool. We'll end the poll in about 30 seconds. It looks like right now, social media algorithms are leading the polls with personalized media recommendations, a quick one behind. I'm curious if we like showed these to our students, what they would decide if their answers would look much different. 10 out of 10 recommend you posing this question to them, maybe even reading that Indigenous quote. All right. So we'll get to our session outcomes for the day. we are going to talk about DPS's instructional framework priorities and just review some ethical, equitable practices for using AI. We're going to align how we use AI tools to effective practices for grade level and joyful instruction. And this is for the ultimate goal of engaging all students in high quality instructional materials, which is one of our district's instructional framework goals for this year. And last, I just want you guys to connect with each other, process ways to integrate deep learning, which is an AI concept we'll get into a little bit more today, and advanced prompt engineering into your planning and instruction. So today, the two CRE mindsets that we're grounded around are high expectations and learning conditions. For high expectations, we're looking at how we can engage students in rigorous, engaging, and differentiated tasks. And then for learning conditions, we're just looking at how we can provide kiddos some opportunities to authentically process information by getting their background knowledge and previous experiences into the learning. So we will go through some housekeeping. We'll look at ethics and equity reminders. Then we'll look at our DPS instructional framework for joyful and grade level instruction. And we'll just see how we can start aligning AI to those instructional goals of ours. Then we will go deeper into deep learning and see how that supports grade level instruction. We will look at advanced prompting for joyful instruction. We will look at AI image generation today in Magic School. So for those of you struggling to get in, we will have some solutions for you today. We'll have some time for Q&A. We'll look at what to do for the PDU, and then we'll close out. So some housekeeping things. If you are looking for a link today, you can find everything in this doc that we are needing to access for today. So if you need any links for today, you can find it in the doc. I just dropped the link in the chat. PDU attendance update. Some of you guys shared that you do not have school on the 14th. That's awesome. Thank you for putting your time into conferences, or I'm sorry if you're working that night late at conferences. But we were going to change that live session to Thursday, the 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, Thursday, October 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. for session number 3. And I'll send out a bunch of calendar invites, emails, reminders about that. We also have live session 4 on November 18th. And then by December 16th, all PDU materials are due. Don't need to worry about that yet. But some of you are asking about what's the general flow of this PDU. Just wanted to point out that a lot of you are really eager to get started with students. Totally fine. If you feel like you're ready, I mean, have at it. But the module 1 and module 2, these both are just built on your knowledge and capacity for using AI. And then module 3 and module 4 are shifting to that student use. So if you're really eager to get going with students and you're frustrated that you're not learning that, just know that that's what the second half of the PDU is around. We're just working on building your own literacy before you start working with kiddos. And to review module 1, to review module 1, we just level set on what it means to appropriately use AI. We looked at the Department of Education and the NEA's recommendations. We looked at our AI policy and DPS, just some ethical considerations that go along with that. We also looked at our handbook. We also learned the basics of AI in module 1. Oh no, Cheryl, no, that's totally fine. If you feel good like using it with kids, like you're good to go. But just realize, like, if you're not there yet, it's okay. We still have some learning to do.
Well, they really like. I did the YouTube video summary with them, and they were. I mean, these are 12th graders. They don't want to, you know, sit still for anything, and so they were like.
Whatever you can to keep a 12th grader in a room, yeah, you have my permission. So we also learned the basics of AI. We learned the definitions, the history. We learned how to do prompt engineering. We learned about Magic School tools. Y'all, you had an incredible module 1 discussion board, like holy participation. Like, I'm just gonna It's like scroll. I'm like halfway through grading, which brings me to my next point. Grades are nearly updated. If something doesn't look right, let me know, but I am halfway through grading discussions and responding to you all as well. But thank you so much for your participation in that. So cool to see everybody connecting. And also any and all feedback is welcome. If you feel like things are moving too fast, too slow, if you need something more, let me know. Before module 3, I would love everybody to please administer a student-facing survey. I made one for elementary students, and like I never was an elementary school teacher, but like I made it with like pictures, like disagree, don't know, agree. Pretty easy language. There's Spanish translations, and then we have a secondary version as well. So please, I'll drop those links in the chat. Administer them to your students. I'm going to create a data dashboard where you can then click your name and see how your students responded to each question. The surveys will also be uploaded into Schoology tonight. And if you have any questions about that, thank you, Michelle, for your specific question. Just if you're like a secondary teacher, feel free to just do one class, or if you want to do all of your classes, like more power to you. If you're like a mild mod teacher that just has a small group of kiddos for pullout and you want to like just try to do like 5, I don't know. Or if you're like an instructional coach and you want to like have your teachers be your students, you're welcome to do that as well. Whatever feels most relevant to you. I don't want this to feel like burdensome. Yeah, good call, Jeff. I'm gonna put that in there too. Thank you. Good call. Yeah, because they have like the double thumbs down for it, because you guys have a 5-point Likert scale for the survey. Yeah. And yes, you will see the survey results. Again, I'm going to have a data dashboard loaded up for you all. And if you have any more specific questions, if you could just throw them in the Q&A for today, and I will drop a link to that in the chat. That would just be super helpful for me to be able to make sure we get out of here on time. So here's the Q&A. Oh yeah, there is Spanish translations for secondary as well. And then final PDU requirement reminders. You need to do a final portfolio, 2 peer evaluations, and then a survey by December 16th. As we get close to November, we'll start coordinating you forming small groups. Also keep in mind, like all of these discussion boards and exit tickets that we're doing are like Schoology assignments. That's just helping you generate artifacts for your final portfolio. So it's not extra work. It's just like stuff you've already done. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And just want to take a second to reground in our policy and ethical considerations. We always send our educators, as per the U.S. Department of Education, like you're the one doing the teaching, you're the one preparing and reflecting on how the teaching went, and you're the one ultimately deciding what gets put in front of kiddos. But also like this second image I really like. You're the one that knows best how to protect your students' privacy and data security, not AI. You're the one that knows best how to align learning to the vision of your district or your school, not AI. Like all these things, you're better at minimizing bias, not AI. Like you're gonna have a better like detector in your brain than AI itself. So just know that like you're the expert and you need to stay in the loop with all these things when using technology. Also, did you do your Module 2 reading homework? If not, please be sure to check out, you just had like a few pages of reading in the NEA report, specifically page 11 in this report, like 11 through 13 talks about the potential benefits of AI for students and educators with disabilities. And I love that they call out both students and educators. And they name a lot of really helpful ways that AI is there to support students with disabilities. And just wanted to take another quick second for a poll question, which again is not showing up, driving me crazy. How do you see based on the NEA recommends 5 different ways to support students with disabilities. How do you recommend students as getting in, like, best supported with AI? You should be able to see it now. Sorry. So we have a poll question coming at you. Yeah. So do you think, and again, I know choosing one is hard, but it also requires you to do some critical thinking to choose. And if you want to put a more nuanced answer in the chat, like, go ahead, please. So NEA recommends like 5 ways we can support students with disabilities using AI. So do you see the best use as being AI-enabled chatbots to like answer questions in the moment for kiddos? Maybe it's how AI can assist students with communication disorders to help them with like speech to text, text to speech. Do you see it as being most powerful because it remediates content? It can simplify language, make everything more accessible, change the formatting. And then also it can adapt reading passages based on your perceived ability in the moment. Or last, maybe you need an extension or a support. It can identify multiple pathways based on your interests, learning objectives. It can really just personalize your instruction. So if you go back into the poll, you should see the second one. We have 16 votes so far. I'll start showing you how people have voted. And yes, I will drop the NEA report in the chat. NEA report, page 11. Huh. It looks like like the last one, number 5, is kind of running away with it. AI identifying multiple pathways for students to achieve learning objectives, generating differentiated methods for demonstrating mastery, thereby supporting educators and providing diverse assessment pathways. Absolutely. And just really goes to show you how like well aligned the NEA's like recommendations and AI in general is to DPS's CRE mindset of high expectations, just making sure that all students can engage in rigorous tasks in content areas and curriculum. Also, just a reminder, we have a handbook if you like wanted to share it with your staff. If anybody's like, what's AI? What does it mean? And a reminder for safe and ethical integration. 1, please safeguard student data. Today, we're going to talk about being able to analyze student data to give them like in the moment feedback, but we want to make sure, again, that we're never putting names, ID numbers, birthdays in there. Please be sure to critique AI bias. We're also going to look today at algorithmic bias and how that seeps into the outputs that we are generating. Follow age restrictions. If you use the 2 tools that we recommend, you're good to go. Mitigating harm. As you start using AI with students, start building their literacy skills on AI, and that's the best way to ensure that they're going to use it appropriately. And last, check for reliability, especially as a teacher. You are the expert in the field. Please make sure it is your expertise that is ultimately being put in front of students. Those 2 tools that we recommend are Magic School and Canva. And this interesting report on Magic School just came out from Common Sense Media. They gave Magic School a 93% passing safety rate as an AI tool for students, and like standard ChatGPT got a 48%. And if you wanted to click that link, it goes deeper into like why, and it breaks down like the general safety of it. You can see the full review. Pretty interesting to see how they rated it and why, and just, I don't know, nice for a critical evaluation of a tool. These are other permitted tools. Nothing has really changed. And does anybody have any questions about permitted use, policy, ethics before we move on to just starting to use AI? And please don't be shy if you have any questions about it.
I do have a question, Kali, and I did send you an email about Quizlet. It's something that we used over the years, but we don't have access anymore.
Mhm.
On the list for the ed tech, it says it's under review for like forever.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know when it will be like in approval for us to be able to use it, because it's one of the softwares that is really, really good.
Two things. One, email Luke Mund. He deals with all of like the approval process. And ultimately it's on DOTS. They have a DPA signed and now it's just DOTS getting through the paperwork. Sorry, it's yeah, not really ultimately on me. But the second thing is like, would love to sit with you one-on-one and see if there's any other solutions. Integration with Google. Yes, we are working on DOTS to push that out. They could, and I'll show you a tool today, you can push out like content to your Google Drive, but right now it just only takes one extra step of doing the copying. Sorry, I know that's frustrating. But yeah, we are working on DOTS to get a Google integration. And then today we will also talk about how to get into Adobe Express through Magic School. But this next part is just about how we are really focusing on using AI. Not if you like do all the multiple questions. I don't know. If you are aligning AI use to our DPS instructional framework, that's going to ensure that you're putting high quality instruction in front of our students. This is our ed tech instructional values. Really, we want everybody to be ideally in that upper right-hand corner where you're using your expert exemplary tier 1 instruction with student-centered scaffolds. You have high quality curriculum and instructional tools, and you have effective pedagogy, all in line with using technology. Technology should be in support and enhancing all three of these things. So you should just have good teaching, good content knowledge, and good student interaction when using technology. And as a district, we have our 24-25 instructional framework on slide 24 or 34, if you're interested. We have 4 main pillars that we believe instruction should be. 1 is grade level, 2 is joyful, 3 is culturally sustaining, and 4 is linguistically sustaining. And for the beginning of the PDU, you took a little survey doing a yes/no questionnaire on whether or not you see some indicators being supported in your classroom. Our ultimate hypothesis, or my ultimate hypothesis, and in my doctoral research, I think that by increasing teacher and student AI literacy, we can through that increase grade level, joyful, culturally, and linguistically sustaining instruction. So the better we all are at using AI, the better the learning will be in our classrooms. And today we're going to focus on grade level and joyful. So we have these 6 indicators in the instructional framework for grade level instruction. You guys each answered a survey on how you felt, and really there was a trend. Actually, so many of you guys gave yourself 17 out of 17 yeses. We are here for growth, everybody, but I guess you all start perfect. It's okay. Anyway, the 2 indicators for grade level instruction that really popped out is a lot of you guys are looking to create opportunities, specialized supports, access points for all students to demonstrate content level. And you also are looking to just get kids to shoulder the cognitive lift. So I, based on your survey results, identified some tools in Magic School to help you with grade level instruction. And then I also identified some tools for joyful instruction. Y'all identified these 2 indicators that you want to have kiddos build on one another's shared ideas and knowledge. And you also want them to just reflect and self-regulate their emotions. Same. So I also have tools for joyful instruction. I want to give you 7 minutes to choose either grade level or joyful instruction. Think of an indicator that you want to grow towards and one tool that can kind of help you work towards that. So I'm going to give you 7 minutes to take some time, explore a tool. Again, if you want the slide deck, it's in the chat box. The recommendations for tools are on slide 40 for joyful instruction and slide 37 for grade level instruction. And then the indicators are on the slides before them. So just take a second, lean into one of the indicators for either grade level and joyful instruction, choose a tool to do so, and then just take some time for an upcoming lesson and enhance it using one of the tools. If you have any questions during that time, I'll be here. But we'll meet back. It's 5:34 now. We'll meet back at 5:41 after you take some time to use the tools.
What were the specific ones you wanted us to use?
You can do whatever you want. But a lot of you talked about wanting to do these two for Joyful. So just having kids build on one another's shared ideas and then like reflect and self-regulate emotions. And then for grade level, it was getting opportunities, supports, access points for all students to demonstrate grade level content. And the second one was shoulder and cognitive lift. Go ahead, Lorena. Lorena, I don't know if you're talking or not. I don't think I can hear you. Oh, okay. And John, the survey, I'll talk more about it at the end of the class today, but you will give the students the survey link and administer it to at least one class.
Now, how do I get the link?
They're in the slides, but they'll also be in Schoology at the end of today.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yup.
Awesome. I have a question about Magic School AI.
Mhm.
Is it something that the students can log in and use themselves, or is it just us using it to give them chatbots?
The second one, it is not like freely accessible for students to access. However, kids know that their teachers don't really close out chat rooms and they kind of just keep some links open and have chat bots going forever.
Oh,
So they can work around it. But yeah, you don't, or like if you're a teacher and you want to keep a chat room open for kids to constantly access, you can like establish that for kids.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you mind walking us through while other people are exploring how it would be best to like generate a CLO? Or yeah.
See, I'm going to have specific time for CLO in a little bit, but is there a specific tool you'd want me to look at? I'm happy to demo a tool for the next few minutes.
How about though, let's see, I was looking at Make It Relevant.
Awesome. What grade do you teach?
K through 5. So pick one.
Oh man. Okay, let's do fourth. What are you teaching with fourth grade kiddos?
We're working on a project about what would they do if they had the ability to change something at the school. So persuasive ideas. Okay.
Are they just like, what are the, like, are they doing claim evidence reasoning type of thing, or are there specific skills?
It's mainly language because I teach ELD, but sure, persuasive.
Cool. And then your students are language learners. Are they at a specific like WIDA level?
They're mainly a 3 and a 3.
Okay.
Wow. You can specify that?
You can do whatever you want. And are they Spanish speakers mostly, or do you have other languages?
Other languages. It's mixed.
So we'll see what it comes up with. Ah, so it gives them
Nice.
some ideas. School lunch improvements, playground, class pet proposal. And this just generated ideas to make this project relevant for them. And maybe you say like, I want to do idea number 2. What more supports can I do for persuasive
Oh, okay.
language development? Oh, it gives me a word wall idea, some graphic
Nice.
organizers, sentence frames, examples, role-playing activities. Ooh, let's do more role-playing dialogue activities.
That's what we focus on, yeah.
Cool. Ooh, a persuasive phone call. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking I'm thinking of a student that like just came to our school at Bear Valley from Vietnam, and we just like made her order pizza and like call a business and like put an order in to like build that confidence. That would be so fun.
How cool. That is a great idea. That's awesome.
I'm going to call you guys back in about 30
Thank you.
seconds, and then we will go into some breakout chats. And I think that's a good question, Santa. Can we talk about that at the end, or can you put that in the Q&A doc, actually? That would be awesome. We are going to go into breakout chats, and hopefully we'll do about 6-7 minutes. That should be enough room, enough time for breakouts. I think we should do, we have 60 people, we'll do like 15 rooms, 16 rooms. So what tool did you explore, and how do you see this as helping you with grade level or joyful instruction? So just like introduce yourself, what you teach, and like how this tool, you can see it being used in your context. So we'll talk for about 6-7 minutes. Oh, me too. We'll talk for about 6-7 minutes, and then we will come back. Like, oh, no worry, Millie. Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy Monday. Welcome back, y'all. Hope that was a decent enough time to talk. I know you could probably talk about this forever. Welcome back in. All right. As y'all are starting to rejoin us, hope those discussions were good. Hope other people's use of the tools opened up some ideas for you. We're going to go into the next section, and just like heads up, it's going to get a little techie, and like I'm a fake tech guy. I was a language arts and social studies teacher. I can't fix your computer, but I can maybe try to like help you understand it and help you feel comfortable talking to students about it. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into some concepts of AI, some terms, and then connect them to grade level instruction. So, oh geez, well, okay, Jen, just no judgments. This is a safe space. So machine learning is a type of AI. Remember, AI is like a big umbrella term. And machine learning is a type of AI that enables computers to learn from data and start to make decisions or make predictions based on that data, because they're able to find patterns and classify and cluster things. So if you gave a computer, for example, a banana, an orange, and an apple, and you were a person here working with the computer, you would tell the computer, what features should you extract in order to tell the difference between a banana, an orange, and an apple? Well, the first thing I'm going to start with is color, and then shape, and then size. And then once I've told the computer features, the computer starts to learn how to generate and output things that are classified in line with that. And I also think this example on the right-hand side is a decision tree that a computer goes through. Say you programmed an algorithm like, should I take this job or not? You want your algorithm to answer specific questions and pathways. So like, is the salary between 50 and 80 grand? If it's a no, then computer's going to decline the offer immediately. If the algorithm is between 50 and 80 grand, then like maybe it will push that like job application recommendation to me. And then the next qualification is the office near home. If it's a yes, then it'll continue pushing that job recommendation towards me. And last, if it's close to my home, will it give me a cab? If it's a yes, then I will accept the offer. And I can train my computer to look for those specific qualifications to understand that. What I did was one like advanced prompting tip is telling AI to generate things in the form of a table. So I asked it to take each grade level indicator, so affirming student identities, engaging students with grade level content, using scaffolds and supports, structuring lesson arcs, providing opportunities for cognitive lift, and finally, formative checks for understanding. And I asked them, how does this relate to machine learning itself? Because it's our kids that are learning, but we're also talking about machine learning, and there's so many parallels. And it came up with some like really interesting connections between grade level instruction and machine learning. So just like you want to affirm students' identities and connect to their past knowledge, we want to make sure that our computers have the right input data, and we're really featuring the engineering and programming to make sure that we're able to get that true experience for the students. We also want to make sure our kids have grade level, high quality instructional material. And we also want the same of the data in the like trainings that we're using for our models. So all of these things, I'm not going to read through them, but I just thought it was interesting to see like AI whipped this up really quick in a table format. If you're confused about machine learning, you can kind of help it connect to student learning. We're also going to talk a little bit about deep learning and explore this more. Deep learning is like machine learning, but better. If you see here up on the top, machine learning needs a person to tell them what features to look for. And then after the person has told the computer what to find, it's able to classify and give you an output based on that. For deep learning, however, there are so many neural networks that are at work that don't require human input, where now our computers are able to layer different sources of information, find complex patterns between them, and learn on its own. If there's any Zaretta Hammond fans out here, I saw a bunch of people like quote her culturally responsive teaching in the brain in some of their responses. I think it's just interesting to compare a human brain development with dendrites and axons to the like actual like tech input, where you're inputting just exactly like dendrites are and making connections between different concepts like human thinking itself. Pretty wild to think about. And Holly Clark talks about deep learning in the AI-infused classroom. She says deep learning requires that we provide opportunities for our students to actively engage with information, synthesize it, and think critically about it, rather than passively consuming it in a worksheet form. This is how we create dynamic and enriching learning experiences that prepare our students for the opportunities and challenges of the future. So just like deep learning for computers, we want our students to be engaging in deep learning in our classrooms. And Holly Clark says that deep learning means that classrooms should be driven by open-ended questions. These should lead to enduring understandings. There should be thoughtful activities and interactions for students to engage with the content. Students should talk about things and transfer their learning in different ways. And students should also apply their knowledge to real-world situations. And a lot of you guys said like, this is what actually I love about teaching. Somebody said, this is what I love about teaching, presenting an idea or concept to students and having that rich dialogue that gets those synapses firing. Someone else said, I wholeheartedly 200% agree with the quote, but I'm reminded that standardized testing allows for none of this. Fostering deep learning is, I believe, why all of us got into the field of education to begin with. Why don't politicians see it this way? Such an interesting quote. I think AI is really going to push our thinking around standardized testing moving forward. Quote 3 says, as a paraprofessional, I hear things like, what does this have to do with real life? Or this is dumb. Using AI in the classroom will be more engaging for students, create more exciting learning experiences. I really, like, it breaks my heart to hear that students with IEPs are being given more menial, dumb tasks. And then quote 4 says, in my 7th grade ELA class, I speak frequently of how we work, how the work we do with text is just more than reading. It's analyzing meaning, developing our own thinking around the text, not just understanding the surface level, but actually digging deep to develop the intricate thinking that resonates with my own philosophy of why we're working in ELA class to interpret evidence on deeper level. So really just like, how do we engage kiddos in that deeper level thinking through deep AI learning? It's like deep AI learning inception. So what I'm going to do is model what deep learning is using something called the Google's Teachable Machine. If you've used the Teachable Machine, say so in the chat. I'd love to hear if anybody's had any experience with it, but I would love to see, show you how deep learning works. So I'm going to create a teachable machine, and this platform, I'm going to create a choice board for you guys to engage with in module 3, and this will be one of the choices on the choice board. You can do an image project, audio project, or pose project. Pose project is kind of cool, especially if you're in PE. But the image project we're going to start with, and we're going to show you exactly, and this is free and able to use for everybody. It doesn't require students to use personally identifying information, so they can play with this too. I'm just going to do a standard image model. And what it's asking me to do, as you can see here, it says class 1 and class 2. I have to upload images that represent 2 different things, and I'm going to train my model to be able to recognize something. So I'm going to do a class that is non-renewable energy, and I'm going to do a class that is renewable energy. And this is in support of the 6th to 8th grade science standard, where students have to explore Earth's resources and how our use of them impacts the Earth. And I think this is a really interesting way for students to not only identify what is renewable energy and non-renewable energy, but also, like, what are the features of each that I'd have to get the machine to know in order for it to identify. So what I did was I saved a few pictures, and I'm going to upload them. So I have a few non-renewable energy examples saved on my computer. I have like a drum of oil. I got some like nuclear power plants. I have coal plants and some examples over here. And then I'm going to upload some examples of renewable energy. And for renewable energy, I have like nice clean things like hydro plants and hydropower plants and wind farms and, you know, solar power. And so what I'm going to do now is do something called train the model. I'm going to click train the model, and it's going to look at the 4 pictures I put for each one. And you can train it by either using a webcam or a file. I'm going to choose a file, and I'm going to see if I put in a picture of hydropower, if it will recognize it. Ooh, it has renewable energy, a 67% match. That means that maybe my data sets aren't that great yet, and I need to find another picture to represent renewable energy to add to my data set to have it better identify. So I'm going to add that picture to my data set. I'm going to click edit here. Click the 3 dots, and I'm going to upload another picture. And I will put that hydro example in there. And I'm going to retrain my model. And I'll click a file. And it should come up with now. That's wrong. It should come up now with renewable energy. But no, it's not loading right.
And here's your hallucination.
Yeah, it's a hallucination. Thanks. Well, awesome. It usually doesn't work like that, but we'll try a different one. Let's try this one. 100% renewable. I'm wondering why if I choose hydro again. It's still renewable, but not as much. Interesting that loading that data confused it a little bit. But so you can play around with different pictures now. Let's do a car using gas, we'll say. Will it recognize it? Non-renewable energy. Maybe there's something with oil or something I could program to make it stronger, but you can work with your students to critically think of what examples do you need to better classify that category. And this could work with like mammals and reptiles, or it could work with fiction or nonfiction books. It could just be really interesting to see how your specific content could engage with a teachable machine. So super interesting to see the inner workings, but you'll notice, and going back here, you'll notice that the AI will start to recognize different patterns, and it starts to understand what's in each image to know how to analyze future ones without needing your input. That's a good question, Michelle. I think like right-clicking and saving, or I think giving kiddos like a folder in Google Drive of just pictures to download for them to choose from. I think that might be a good idea too. Just like already like pre-programming stuff for them. So anyway, that just shows you that like deep learning is just a subset of machine learning, which is just in the subset of artificial intelligence. And because we're able to engage in deep learning, because our computers are now able to make so many different connections across so many different sources of information using human language, now we're able to use generative AI. So what we're going to do is see how we can use deep learning in generative AI to enhance our instruction for grade level instruction. So what we're going to do is first, a lot of you guys were like curious about how to download instructional materials and upload them into into Magic School. So I wanted to show you first in any Google Drive file, you can click File, Download, and I generally recommend downloading things as in their PDF form, so you're able to upload them then into Magic School. Also, I love this conversation on how people are using teachable machines. I would love to hear examples in the chat. Like I want to take them and run with them. So if you want to download something, you can click File, Download. And what we're going to do is download one thing and upload it into Magic School to engage it in deep learning, to upload your own data so you can teach the machine something. So when you go into Raina, you can click the little paper clip at the very bottom and click upload a PDF, a doc, a PowerPoint, or even like a screenshot image. So even if it's like an infographic that you wanted to upload and say, hey, I want discussion questions around this infographic, you could take a screenshot of an infographic and upload it as a picture. I'll do a quick example, but I would love for everybody to take some time and practice. One, downloading something, then in Raina, two, upload an attachment, and you can use this prompt. You can copy and paste it directly into your chat if you want with Raina. It just says, please use the attached lesson plan 2, and then you can insert a grade level instructional indicator like engage students in cognitive lift. We'll use that as an example. So I'm going into Raina and I'll say, please use the attached lesson to engage students better in shouldering the cognitive lift and ensuring access points for all students. Michelle, it says like 8,000 words is its limit, but like even if you put in over 8,000 words, it'll still read up until that point. So you can still upload it anyway. But generally, the more like refined the information is that you give it, the better it'll be. So I'm just going to see if I have a slide deck. I have our slide deck for today. I'll upload it and see how I can better shoulder the cognitive lift for you guys. Sorry in advance. Okay, cool. So it understands my agenda. Thank you very much. Cool. It gives me feedback, and then it gives me some next steps. Okay. So interesting. So take some time, use the paper clip down here to upload something. Again, we don't have Google Drive Connect. Sorry. Don't email me, email dots. I don't know. And then you could also put a YouTube video in if you wanted to say like, hey, I'm looking at this YouTube video in class today. How do I get students to shoulder the cognitive lift for this YouTube video? And it will understand the content in the YouTube video from the transcript and analyze it for you. So let's take like 3 minutes, download something, upload it into Raina. It can, Nikki, it can create content for a slide deck if you use the slide, like, and I'll go back into Magic School. I'll say, great, generate 20 slides for this lesson. And it tells me what to put on each slide. Please add more content for each slide. Yeah, thank you. Now it's breaking it down a little bit more for me. And there is a like a slide generator, presentation deck generator tool in Magic School, but I just recommend asking your chatbot to do it. And it's not going to generate slides for you. It won't like do the creative process for you, like the multimedia part. Canva will do that, and we'll talk about that next week or next session. If you have questions, sorry, I'm going to keep kind of like rolling through. Please make sure you're putting them in the Q&A doc if I'm not answering them. Sorry. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hydrant, which I'm thirsty. We'll take about 1 more minute to just try uploading something. Uploading curriculum into your chatbot. Again, this is engaging your chatbot in deep learning. By feeding data into your machine, you are letting it learn your expectations, and you are programming your own data set for your machine. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you to do is how to get help writing CLOs. Did you know that our like district has our own website on writing CLOs, and it has components of a strong CLO? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screenshot this, and I'm going to upload this picture into my chatbot of my screenshot. And I'm going to say, awesome. Write me a CLO using these guidelines for the lesson I have. And it has my slide deck already in here. And now it's taking the screenshot information from my CLO. It's telling me all the key components, and it's telling me all these things. So it's got my CLO. Okay, well, it's giving me my objective. It's kind of breaking it all down. I just want 1 sentence. I just want 1 sentence for my CLO for students to understand. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I put the screenshot in, and I said, write me a CLO using these guidelines. And it broke down my CLO for me. And then I had it right for students. And again, you're the expert educator. You know best on if it's matching like the expectations, the high expectations for rigorous grade level instruction in the classroom. But this is just a little helpful tool. And feel free to screenshot any piece of content from that CLO website if you need specific support. And I highly recommend just like delving a little bit into that CLO website for light reading at night. So if you want help with CLO, I have 2 prompts for you to look at. You can just use a prompt that says, Please read my district's guidance on writing CLOs attached here. No need to respond, just understand the information. And then you can prompt it saying, based on my lesson plan attached, generate a CLO. So you can have some like multi-step prompts to work with your chatbot. I also like this little checklist that the district provided on their website. It's just a checklist that you could also upload into your chatbot. So I'll just take a screenshot of this and I'll go back into Magic School and share my tab this time and say, can you ensure it meets the checklist requirements? And I'll upload the screenshot of that little ditty and see what it says. Okay, cool. Thanks. And I think this is helpful, especially if you're coaching teachers too, to have like a more objective like run through of somebody's CLO and help them coach and lead a horse to water so they don't constantly need you to get help writing a CLO. And then the last one you can try out is generating scored feedback. This is going to take a little bit of time. You can just use the student work feedback tool and paste student writing and your, you can just paste student writing and your rubric into the tool, or in this yellow box, it just gives you steps on how to do it with Raina. So first, download your student work and remove all identifying information from it. So if you're like downloading responses from Illuminate or Schoology, only like highlight the column that has the student work responses in it and just make a new table of it. And you can put aliases if you want, or you can just like have a separate like non-name data table and you can compare it to your name data table on a separate sheet. But please remove their information. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, oh yeah. You can upload a Google Doc. You can save a Google Doc as a doc. Did you know that? And you can open a doc as a Google Doc.
Callie,
Yeah.
how well does it do with qualitative writing?
I think it does pretty great, especially if you work a little bit with your bot and calibrate it just like you would with any other language arts teacher. Maybe that's only been around for a few years. I'll like finish explaining this and then I can show you kind of how to, or what my thoughts are with that. But so you can upload your rubric into the chatbot, tell it to understand the rubric. You can paste one student response, or you can have them numbered like 1 through 30 and paste all of them in there. And you can tell it to audit, calibrate feedback based on like, if you think they're grading too easy, you can say, please run this back through and adjust like the points for grammar or the claim, be a little bit more rigorous on that. And I would only do one student response at first, or maybe two, and see if it's like aligned with your expectations before you run the rest of the class set through, if that makes sense. And also what I would love to say is, please tell your students that you're using AI generated feedback when you use it. Cause I just had a professor give me AI generated feedback and I was just like, thanks for nothing. I already asked for feedback from my chatbot. So yeah, just let your students know that you are giving them feedback. So I want to give you some time to do one of those three things. You can either like upload some student work and a rubric and get some feedback for it. You can try writing a CLO, or you can just enhance an upcoming lesson by uploading a curriculum resource. So I'll give you like 7 minutes to play around with doing one of those three things. The slides to support the steps for each of those and like the prompts that I recommend using if you're stuck on how to get started prompting. Those are, so slide 40 is for uploading curriculum resource. Slides 41 and 42 is for CLO writing. Slide 43 is getting student feedback based on a rubric. Yes, I can. All right, so on slide 55. Oh, my slides have changed numbers drastically since I wrote that last one. That's my bad, you guys. So on slide 55, you can, there's a link to the website that you can find all of that information for, and I'll drop the link to the website here. Yeah, and if you go to the website, if you click those 3 little lines on the side, you can have example CLOs for different content areas if you wanted to get a little bit deeper into your content area. Malia, yeah, you can take you totally can take a screenshot of student work, especially if it's multimedia work, like if they made like a Canva poster or something for a project. You can also give them feedback on that too. And feel free to come over the mic. People are just taking some time to explore on their own right now, so I would love to hear other ideas or questions if you have them.
So could you technically put a screenshot of like an exit slip or something?
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I recommend doing is just like, here's my exit ticket for today. Take a screenshot of it. Here's my rubric. Like how grade student responses based on these 2 like learning materials.
Okay.
Go ahead, Santa.
Yeah, thank you. I was also wondering, since I do not have a specific curriculum like that I can go back, I have the digital book. So I was planning like to have all the screenshots about it because it doesn't allow me to copy and paste. So if I save all those screenshots and save it as a PDF, is it gonna recognize it? Because I tried it once. I don't know if I was the one not doing it correctly.
You should be able to just upload the screenshot itself and it should be able to see it.
Okay.
Try it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me know what happens.
Sure.
Jeff, what's OCR? Is this something I should know?
Are you talking about optical character recognition?
Oh.
I'm not sure what in context. There's a couple.
Yeah, you just said that. That's cool. Yeah. I think it's better at optical character recognition, but it's not good at generation. It'll just give you like meow wolf language if you ask it to make text.
But I'm used to like having to go find actual text sources to get reliable upload. But you're saying that like just a screen grab it will get you something useful now. That's good news.
And also, Martha asked, how can I add a copied link to the Raina chatbot? I don't think it lets you just paste a link and it'll understand the content. I just recommend taking a screenshot of the content from the link, maybe. Yeah. And then Michelle, yeah, unfortunately with Raina, you can't upload multiple things. I feel like even with my paid GPT, I can't either. But you just kind of have to, one, like prompt it right to like go through steps. And then also, I think it's better to give it some time to understand each uploaded material individually. I don't know. That's just my humble opinion. We'll spend about 3 more minutes engaging in deep learning. come back in about 2 minutes. If you have any questions, running into any issues, let me know. We'll come back in about 30 seconds. And in the meantime, I just had a genius idea. I'm going to screenshot my fantasy team and ask GPT, what the heck can I do? Because I'm 0-3. 30-second warning. All right. Now that you have learned a little AI trick of uploading data into your bot, we are going to just learn a few more tips on prompt engineering and have you choose one of them to practice. So we just learned the basics of prompt engineering last time. And again, this is AI literacy skill building. So we're just going to keep practicing prompt engineering tips. And if you know all three of these, well, then just talk to your chatbot for a little bit. I don't know. So just a reminder, prompt engineering is just being able to structure your text to get what you want out of AI. And we want to make sure we're giving it context, identifying a task for it to complete for us, and giving it instructions on how to do so, and then just clarifying information and refining it if we don't get what we want. So the first tip I want to show you for joyful instruction is to use something called delimiters, aka like quotes or brackets. And I like to put large chunks of text within quotes. And then if you use quotes or brackets, the AI is able to separate that information from the rest of your prompt. So I could say, please read this lesson plan and put it in delimiters, and generate based on this student data and put that in delimiters an adjusted lesson for tomorrow. And I can put multiple pieces of data within my prompt, just like you could upload something. So if you wanted to upload multiple pieces of data, maybe you could paste some text into it using delimiters and then upload an attachment as well. But the first prompt you could try using delimiters is, please help me create conditions where students build on one another's shared ideas and knowledge to make sense of this lesson. And then you use brackets and paste your lesson content in there. And then you can use that same prompt for really any future lesson too. And then prompt 2, based on my lesson objectives here, paste. How can I build in structures or routines to support students in reflecting and self-regulating their emotions into my agenda here? Paste. And so you can really just like put large chunks of text in the bot itself. And you can also do that with student responses and separate them in that way. Another advanced prompting tip is to ask AI to go through chain of reasoning steps. So I gave it these steps to 1, read the attached lesson plan. 2, pretend you're an instructional coach supporting my growth, providing students opportunities to reflect on their thinking. 3, based on my lesson, give me feedback on if you think students have the opportunities to share their thinking. 4, guide me through creating conditions. And I just give it steps. And then my last step is at the end, reorganize our conversation into content for a 60-minute, 20-slide deck. And I can just give it steps to work through if I really want targeted coaching. And then the last tip is to ask the model to check itself before it moves on. So I'm going to tell my model to enhance a lesson plan that's attached to increase joyful and student-centered learning. So first, I want you to outline the key learning objectives of my lesson. Then I want you to ensure the lesson aligns with joyful instruction for these 4 things. Please stop short of editing my lesson plan if any of these conditions are not met and suggest how I can improve my lesson. If those conditions are met, generate a set of joyful reflection questions. So you really just can help to make sure you are getting all of these checks and balances in order before your AI bot moves on. So just wanted to give you we'll do 5 minutes. I want you to practice either using delimiters with Raina, practice using chain of reasoning or giving multiple steps at once to your bot, or asking your bot to check for certain conditions. And if you want to go into the slide deck and you can either screenshot these prompts if you want, or you can highlight, copy, and paste them directly and just kind of explore how they work for you. You're welcome to. The learning conditions section to add to this. Are you talking about the LEAP manual?
No, just where I go to do this that you're telling us to do. Is that in Raina?
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry. Yeah, just
where in Raina? I was looking, I couldn't find joyful or learning, but I saw it once before. But where is learning conditions?
If you're in Raina, all you're going to do is just use your prompts to chat with it. So you can use the prompts that are in slides. Let's see. We got slides 64, 63, and 62. If you wanted to paste one of those prompts into Raina, that's how you can start to use your chatbot for joyful instruction, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Spend about 3 more minutes practicing an advanced prompting technique. Yeah, Nikki, I would download that lesson as a PDF. We'll come back in about 1 minute. All right. Thank you, Tiffany, for letting Nikki know that. Nikki, it seems like if you download it as a PDF, it might be the way to go until we get that Google Drive connectivity worked out. Okay, a lot of you have been asking on how do I get into the image generator in Magic School? And if you haven't done so already, I can help you walk through that and get you access. Unfortunately, well, I'll talk more about that in just a second. Not unfortunately. Well, yes, unfortunately, algorithmic bias really comes up in image generation, especially, and wanted to make everybody aware of how algorithmic bias can be involved in generative AI. So algorithmic bias is systemic and repeatable errors that create unfair outcomes, privileging one group of users over another. So these biases can be like age discrimination, gender bias, racial bias, and we have a few examples on how that plays out in image generation. So using stable diffusion images, the University of Stanford ran 100 pictures through a skin tone analyzer and a gender analyzer, and found that when you asked Stable Diffusion to generate an AI-generated image of a color photograph of a CEO, almost 60% of the people generated were in the lightest skin tone, and only 1% of those people were in the darkest skin tone. 94% of those people were men. And just looking at then a colored photograph of a fast food worker, we now see less people in the lightest skin tone area and more people in the darker skin tone area as that starts to shift. And if you don't know where I'm looking, let me get out of the present mode and I can show you here. So it breaks down the skin tone there and the gender here. And what we are finding is, and you can kind of see the goofy faces, like the one on the farthest left. These are AI generated images. These aren't Googled images, but all of these images are created based on all of the data that is in the internet. So if we are only pulling from data that is biased, then it's going to generate biased images. And now the last example is a colored photograph of a drug dealer. And as you can see, it's 100% male and mostly men of color as well. So interesting to see how algorithmic bias plays out in image generation. And I think this is a really helpful example to show students as well for them to understand algorithmic bias. And my favorite like tech professor is Rua Benjamin, and she says, unfortunately, it's becoming ever clearer that artificial intelligence and automated systems can create, reinforce, and deepen social injustice. This is because the predictions that machines make are not objective. Humans imagine, build, train, and deploy computational systems using flawed data sets that embed the historical bias of our social and political institutions. The first step in countering the gospel of tech solutionism is to simply question the presumption that newer revised technologies are the solution to any social problem. Those who have been excluded, harmed, exposed, and oppressed by the technology understand better than anyone how things could go wrong. Correcting the path we're on means listening to those voices. To change course, we need to rethink assumptions about who might imagine, design, build, or foresee the technologies that are shaping the future. So really, you start to get images like this because only white men are training these data sets. And so the more people we get involved in the creation of our AI systems, the more people we get using them and adding their own data like you just did for grade level and joyful instruction tonight, the more we're informing these systems for more equitable practices. So I'm going to give you some time to play with text to image generation, but I want to also preface that we're going to get deeper into multimedia, multimodal generative AI in our next session. So we're going to go really deep into image generation in module 3. We're just going to cover the basics right now because a lot of you are asking for questions around image generator. So when you're using AI image generator, just know that you can use different styles of artwork. Experimentation is key. You're not going to get the best picture the first prompt, just like you are with text generation. So keep reprompting it. You can upload an existing image to use it as an inspiration or a base. You can make sure you're including a lot of things in the prompt. What's in the foreground? What's in the background? What's the lighting like? What colors are you using? And also make sure that, oh, also, like, if you're ever wondering, like, if it's an AI image generated picture, just look at the hands, like the example right here, like the hands are wild looking. So we can all get into Magic School's image generator by going into Magic School itself. And I do not want you to click continue with Google. Do not click continue with Google. We do not have an SSO connection with Adobe. And some of you might even need to create an Adobe account if you're not yet connected. I recommend using your .org email. Yes, that still exists. Your dpsk12.org email instead of your .net email, so you can get a clear connection between Magic School and that account. So I will show you how to get in there. So I'm going to go to my tools and I'll click image generator. And I'm going to click text to image. And I'm already logged in, so I will sign out and show you how to do it. So I'm signed out just like you might be. So I'm not going to click Google. Instead, I'm going to click sign in or create an account. And I'm going to use Kaylee Parachia at dpsk12.org. And I'm going to click, this is just my personal account. And I'll email in. And you'll create a password. And you should be good to go. If you need more support with this, you can stay on after and I can try to work with you, or you can put some questions in the Q&A, but this seems to work for most people. So what I'm going to show you is now how to use it. So you have a text box here, and this is where you describe what you want. So I want a possum and a bat partying on a mushroom in a fall scene, golden aspen forest in the Rocky Mountains. But also looking at examples of renewable energy sources. There's my content right there for you. So I'm going to generate some pictures. And I'll click agree, and you'll see it. It's going to take some time to generate 4 pictures for me. And because we have free accounts for Adobe, you have like 25 generated images, but we also have free accounts. If you, or not free accounts, $5 teacher accounts, I believe, and I can get more specific information that your school can purchase. Okay, I don't see many renewable energy sources here. So I'm going to revise my prompt and say, I want wind turbines and solar panels in front of a possum and a bat partying on a mushroom. Okay, that should be better. So now I need more specific content information, and this is the critical thinking that your students need to go through to generate images. Ah, there we go. I needed that content-specific language. Now I have like a really cute picture of renewable energy with like my favorite animals in my favorite scene. So if I like this picture, you can save it to Magic School, or usually kind of what we recommend is just taking a screenshot of it. And that's kind of an easy way to do it too. Canva is like 500 pictures, and we're going to look at Canva in our next module. We're sticking to Magic School for the first 2. This one is 25 generations a month, and it renews every month. Yes. Thank you, Emily. So just give you some time to create a picture. Describe what you see, put in a prompt, use descriptive language. Just play around with your AI image generator. And again, like the teacher like premium account we have available through DPS, I think is like $5 like for the year or something, but don't quote me on that. So if I get that information to you, it might be worth just getting a premium account, and then you're able to give access to your students as well. And I believe right now students do not have access to the this AI image generator, which is why in our, unless you have that premium Adobe subscription, that's why we're going to look at the Canva tools in our next module, because that's what we recommend for students using AI image generation. Yeah, it's all in the slides. So it tells you how to get into Magic School's image generator. Tells you kind of where to type, what language to use. It's not in the slides. I asked members of my team for some language around that today. I don't have a clear answer, and I promise you I will update us on Schoology and our next module with Adobe Premium information, because I want to know too. Okay. We're going to talk about some PDU next steps in about 2 minutes. So take some time, wrap up with an image. Yeah, I always want to go premium. I always want custom premium stuff. John, if you have a specific question, I'm happy to like sit with you after. We're going to wrap up in about 15 minutes, and I can have you share your screen and I can walk you through some things after. All right. We're going to wrap up and talk about PDU next steps in about 30 seconds. Okay. So wrapping up module 2, please make sure you complete step 4, which is just another discussion. Y'all did an amazing job with module 1 discussion. Super cool to see you guys start to connect with each other. So this discussion board just asks you, 1, to just implement a lesson or something that was enhanced with AI for grade level or joyful instruction. So maybe something you even made today can be what you talk about in your discussion post. I want you to gather an artifact, and this is going to help you with your final PDU portfolio. And an artifact could just be like a screenshot of your slide deck of something that got helped with AI, or a picture of student work. Yes, all of these slides are in Schoology and in all of our links in the one-pager doc. So gather an artifact of either your own like instructional materials that you made that were enhanced by AI or student work, and then just evaluate, how did it go? Did it really, like, how did it push your practice? Did it help students? Did it not help students? So please just do that. And then also go respond to your peers as well. Post by October 4th. And please don't use AI to generate your discussion posts, because we're just here to like connect with other humans about non-human things. And yeah, it's just kind of lame to have an AI generated discussion post when everyone else is just chatting like girls, you know what I'm saying? And then in step 4 on Schoology as well, you can find the link to the survey. And I'll show you the surveys, and I'll show you where to get those as well. If you go into Schoology under module 2, I'm going to publish our step 4 right now, so you guys are good to go. And in step 4, you have what I just read, and you can click this link for the elementary survey and this link for the secondary student survey. But you can also find that link, all these links in our link doc. So let me pull that up as well. Oh, also I created an AI generated rubric to help grading, in case anybody cares. I just thought it was pretty cool. If you're looking for a link, you can find them here by clicking here. And you can see we have, oh, I don't have the surveys in here. Oh yeah, we do. AI pre-student survey. I think this is the secondary one. Let me put the elementary one in there too. But I'll also drop the student surveys in the chat box in just a second. Because that brings me to my next slide. Please administer student surveys. We have the elementary one here. And we have the secondary one here, but they're also in Schoology. And I'll also follow up with an email with all these links too. So these survey results will be accessible by a data dashboard that we're going to be creating in the next few weeks. And so you'll be able to like click your name and see specifically for your students, like what your students are saying for each of these questions. And then we will be doing a post survey as well. I saw somebody ask that in the Q&A doc. Great question. We will be doing a post survey as well. And this can be part of the data that you talk about in your final portfolio. So seeing where your kids started in terms of their AI literacy and where they ended with their AI literacy is a data artifact you can unpack. And I think it's really helpful for you to be able to like analyze your own student data when you are trying to figure out what lessons to do with your kiddos. So if you click like the secondary survey, you're just going to give this link to kids and they're going to fill this survey out. And they're going to just talk about like, I know what AI is and how it works. And they'll just evaluate their statement on that. And we'll try to see if they grew throughout the course of you being in this PDU. Ah, thank you. Yes. Okay. So I like manually did all of this. If your name is not on there, if your school is not on there, please email me. So like, please let me know, and I'm sorry. I will, and for PK, Martha, like, I'm going to defer to you. Like, even if you just wanted to like pull 5 kids and ask them like thumbs up, thumbs down, or like, you know, if you have a class discussion and they like raise their hands and you just like tally that off, I think like, you know, your kids best, especially like our K2 teachers as well. I don't want this to be a stressful thing for you. If you need to like, think of different ways to get the answers from kids, like, please don't feel like you need to administer a traditional survey. I'm happy to brainstorm with you guys. And Sonia, please email me to get your name on so I don't forget. Okay, so again, to wrap up module 2, we're just going to have a discussion post, start to administer those student surveys. Would love to have those done by October 17th, because that is when module 3 live session is. So ideally, we would love your student surveys to be administered by the time we have our next live session on October 17th. The content for module 3 will open on Monday, September 30th. And your due date for the module 2 discussion board is October 4th. All of these are in Schoology. We have some Q&As in the doc, and I will pull that up and address those. And then if anybody has any to come over the mic, feel free to do so. Yeah, somebody asked if they're going to take a post survey. Yep, in module 4. If you can't make it, you can catch up asynchronously through the Ed Puzzle. Yes. Okay. So in module 3, I will clarify exactly what's needed for your final portfolio. But really all that's needed is for you to take some time, answer some reflection questions, and have at least 3 artifacts, whether that's your own instructional materials or student artifact of their learning. You'll include those in your slide decks. And in module 3, I can give you some examples of past PDU participants as well for you to look at. Yep, student survey given to your students. Emily is the best human in the world, and put the elementary survey link and secondary survey link here. I'm also going to just do my due diligence and put it in here to our link doc as well. Okay, Kaylee, the difference between launch and the chat box. So launch is launching a room for your students, which is what we're going to look at in module 3 and 4. Just using a chat box is like you just engaging with the tool itself, if that makes sense. But in order for students to access that chat box, you have to launch a room to them and give them a link or a code for them to enter into. Of course, Drea knows this AI stuff. Any other questions for me? Jen, we are creating a data dashboard with all these survey results so you can see them. Okay, we're going to do an intentional close. And I will stay on after if anybody needs support. Just take a second. How do you see AI as enhancing grade level and or joyful instruction in your classroom? Name like, are you going to use a prompt? Are you going to use a specific magic school tool? What are you going to do with AI to improve grade level or joyful instruction?